What's the problem with the government budget deficit? I'll give you an analogy. Imagine you're a school kid in a class, and in that class are three bullies who from time to time take other students' lunch money to go on a spending spree for themselves. And now imagine that bully goes to a rich kid and tells him, "Hey, loan me $1,000, and I'll pay it back to you at 5% interest over the course of the next year or so." Then the rich kid does that, and now the bully, in order to pay off the rich kid, will start to extort more lunch money from the kids in order to be able to pay the interest. And that's essentially what happens with the government budget deficit, only that the student is the taxpayer and the bully is the government, and the rich kid is the investor who buys treasury bills. If it's a rich kid from another class, who's a rich kid who's not in your own class, then it could be kind of like foreign debt. That would be China, for example, the biggest holder of US Treasury bills, I believe, at this point. I mean, aside from the biggest foreign holder of US Treasury bills. And so the problem that you can feel as a consumer does not arise immediately. That's the main crux with the government budget deficit. If the government funds its efforts through taxation, you have to immediately restrict your consumption, and you immediately feel the negative effects. If it's done through a budget deficit, you'll start feeling the effects in 10 years from now, 20 years, 30, 40 years. Maybe you won't feel them at all. Maybe your kids will feel them, who never had any say in the matter. So that's why it's such a sweet deal for the government. It can go on a spending spree right now and extort money in the future in order to pay off past expenses, past incurred debts. You couldn't do that as a private individual, right? You couldn't go to a bank and say, "Give me a loan. Don't worry, I'll pay you back by pulling out a gun and forcing a bunch of people to give me money so I can pay you back with interest." You can only do that if you have the if your group is considered by the majority of the people as a necessary organization, and as an organization that needs to do what it's doing, that needs to initiate violence or threaten initiation of violence in order to get things its way. So, yeah, the negative effects of government budget deficits are reduced consumption, restricted consumption by the taxpayer in the future, and not in the immediate present. And that's basically what it comes down to. So it's not all that difficult, and you can let me know what you think. Thank you for listening.